anything out loud, that'll also be. There you go. So it'll be available later on YouTube. In case you missed anything, or if you wanted to refer a friend, you can find those YouTube videos at AARP Colorado. And if you search for that, top 10 scams, you should be able to find a recording of today's session in case you want to check back. In today's interactive presentation, we are discussing the 10 most common scams reported in 2021 by Coloradans. Today, we will learn how these scams work, how to spot red flags, and how to protect yourself from criminals trying to steal your money and information. As I said, this is part one of a three-part series being held on Thursdays at noon throughout the month of June. So we'll have one next Thursday and the Thursday after. So if you haven't already, please sign up for the other discussions at Denver Public Library. So that's denverlibrary.org. Next Thursday, we'll be discussing what to do when a family member has been victimized by a scam. And on Thursday, June 24th, we'll be covering how to continuously keep your money safe in an ever-changing world. Our host today is Rebecca Pearl from AARP Elder Watch. Keep your mics muted while Rebecca is talking, but if you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves and interject. Or if you have any questions, you can also put them in the chat and we'll make sure that Rebecca addresses those. All right, and if you're ready, Rebecca, you can take it away.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andrew. Hi, everyone. Again, my name is Rebecca Pearl. I am with AARP Elder Watch, which is a partnership. Let me see if my slides are changing. Okay, good. Which is a partnership between the Colorado Attorney General's Office and AARP to do education and outreach, such as this across Colorado on fraud and scam prevention, and also financial literacy and financial security for older adults. We have a volunteer staffed fraud victim support helpline. So if you or a friend or family member are a victim of a fraud or scam, you can give us a call 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday Mountain Time. We are there at 800-222-4444, option number 2. And we do referrals and take reports of frauds and scams. We also do peer-to-peer financial counseling. If you haven't checked your credit report in a while and need assistance doing so, we can help you out with that, pair you with a volunteer to do that. We also have a program for those who have unfortunately experienced the loss of a loved one and may need help with organizing their finances afterward. Again, volunteer supported, and we can also assist with local financial resources. So for more information about our programs, either you can give us a call or send me a chat and we can speak later. So today, as Andrew said, if you'll just mute your phone line, unless you have a question or until the end, we'll do a Q&A. Type your questions in the chat, I'll answer them either at the end or throughout. And then again, the presentation is being recorded and will be uploaded to the AARP Colorado YouTube channel. So these are the top 10 scams in 2020. And we are going to go through each of them one by one. But here's the full list for you. Imposter government and imposter business take spot number 1 and 2. They're very similar, but have different, they function slightly differently, although they do seem to use a lot of the same tactics with being an imposter. Phishing, which is not, unfortunately, the relaxing fishing when you go to the lake and, you know, maybe have a beer, get to stand there for a while. This is online phishing, and we'll get into that and how that works. Prizes, sweepstakes, lotteries, we see this every single year. Unfortunately, non-stranger exploitation. So this is when a victim knows the person that is taking advantage of them. Home improvement and repairs always makes top 10. Tech support also always makes top 10. And we've been seeing some interesting new tactics that scammers are using with tech support scams that are making them much more serious. And so losses are increasing a lot with these new tactics. So we'll get into that as well. Fraudulent sales, same with ID theft, is very self-explanatory, but we'll talk about how identity theft has been on the rise through COVID-19. And then insurance and Medicare, which is unfortunately also always on there. We'll get right into it. Again, feel free to jump in with questions. Imposter government, the way you can recognize this scam is you receive an alarming or threatening call from a government agency. It's likely that you might have some sort of voicemail robocall that says that, your social security number has been compromised. There's been drugs found in your car in Texas, and blood. And if you don't call back right away, you'll be arrested within 24 hours. So those are the alarming types of calls. This is not the government. The government's not going to call you. They have a lot of other things to do. And if there's drugs found in your car, that's not going to be the way they let you know. So don't return those calls. You can ignore them completely. We'll get into the refuse part, but just keep that in mind. Sometimes these will come in also as texts or just messages on Facebook from so-called government agencies offering grant money. And we've actually seen a huge spike in these in the past 3 or so months. And a lot of times this happens on Facebook. And what happens is the scammers have taken over a friend or a family member's Facebook, and they use that Facebook page to target you as a friend. And so it looks like this message is coming from your friend. They say, oh, I got this grant. I got $50,000. All I have to do is fill out this form. They send a link, which gets into phishing, and then collect personal information, and also a lot of times ask for money to receive that grant. The IRS, Social Security, Medicare, the United Nations, they're not going to call you unsolicited. So that goes into the hang up, report the message. If it's on Facebook, you can easily report that and then block that sender, block the caller or sender if you can on your phone as well. Also, if these do come in on Facebook and you know that person outside of Facebook, because I know sometimes we have friends of friends of friends that we're friends with on Facebook, but if you know the person and you can give them a call and say, hey, I think your Facebook's been hacked, a lot of times that's the best way to get those scammers off that Facebook. Contact the agency directly yourself. If you think maybe Social Security is trying to get a hold of me, give Social Security a call. Yes, it might take quite some time to get through to them, but once you get through to them, they will be helpful. Same goes with the IRS. If you think the IRS is trying to get a hold of you, give them a call. Do not give personal identifying information over the phone. If someone calls you and they say, I need these forms filled out, I can fill out these forms over the phone with you, just give me your social security number, address, that information. Please send those to me in the mail. I'd like to look them over myself. Better yet, just hang up. If they're asking for personal information in any situation like this, it's a scam. And then the 3 places to report it, and depending on the type of imposter government scam it is, there might be other agencies, and this goes along with all of the scams. Sometimes scams are a bit more nuanced, and so there's different places that also get those reports. But the main ones here are the Federal Trade Commission, ftc.gov. You can report it to us, AARP Elderwatch. We make a report to the Attorney General's office in Colorado, and they keep close track of these scams. And then state and local authorities. So that might be the police department, that might be your local social security office, etc. Imposter business is number 2. And these are very similar in the way they are set up to imposter government, but these are going to be unsolicited calls or emails claiming you owe money to a business or a utility. We see a lot of these targeting utilities. So they'll say, oh, you owe $300 on your electric bill, and if you don't pay it right now, we're going to cut off your electric bill, or you owe $1,000 on your water bill, and if you don't pay it, we'll cut off your water, risking those dire consequences, right? And that immediacy is very important. Scammers use tactics such as high pressure tactics. This needs to happen right now. They use those tactics 12 times more than your average used car salesman, which is a lot. So they're really trying to get you to act right then and there. But if it's a business saying, oh, you owe this money, hang up, give that business a call back, see if you actually legitimately owe that money. Another big red flag is if the payment that they're asking for that business is through a wire transfer or a gift card or prepaid debit card, even cash. We've had cases where scammers have asked victims to carve out the inside of books and put cash inside and mail it. This is a legitimate thing that happens. I know it sounds like it comes from a movie, but it really does happen in real life. And then the big one now is also cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies are anonymous. They can be traced, as the FBI proved earlier this week, but it's very hard to recover those funds. That's the first time it's happened, is when the Justice Department and FBI did it. So for the average consumer, when cryptocurrency is involved in these scams, it's gone. The way to refuse these is very similar to government imposter, and hang up, report the message, block that caller or sender. Confirm independently, as I said before, that the business is trying to reach you. Give them a call back. Use the number on the back of your credit card. If you're Googling the phone number, after you get a phone number that comes up, you're going to want to Google that phone number, because sometimes the results that come up are incorrect. Scammers have set up phone numbers, big customer service lines that lure you to the scammer as opposed to the business. They're 1 or 2 numbers off, but even if you're using a smart device like an Alexa or Siri, you're going to want to double check that phone number for that business, because we've seen multiple times where people have used devices like that and been made a call to a scammer instead of a legitimate business. And don't rely on caller ID to determine legitimacy. Unfortunately, it's very easy for scammers to go in and spoof phone numbers, so they can use software that disguises these numbers as any number in the world. So it can look like Social Security is legitimately calling you, and even when you call back, it will connect to Social Security, but it's not. It's actually a scammer behind it. So our reporting agencies, again, are the FTC, AARP, ElderWatch, us, and then report it to the business. A lot of times businesses do want to know if scammers are using their name in nefarious ways. So give the business a call. Okay, now we're into phishing. So phishing is when someone contacts you representing the government, reputable business like Amazon or PayPal, or another unscrupulous actor that's trying to trick you into giving personal or financial information via email, text, or link. And most of the time, these start as either an email or text, and then the link within those emails and texts take you to a web page where your personal information is collected. And you've probably seen some of these scam emails where it's like, congratulations, you've won, and then it's just a link. That's a phishing email. I know I also get them. I'll get texts about packages that I have not ordered saying that they're being delivered, to click the link. And I know I haven't ordered anything, so I delete them right away, but that's another sign of phishing. Hang up the phone. Phishing doesn't really happen over the phone, but if it, someone's asking for personal information, hang up, block that contact, and avoid future attempts at contact. So if they are pestering you, avoid responding in any case. That's what they want, is a response, so they can try to continue to get your personal information. Don't respond to emails asking for personal information, and avoid, I know this sounds weird, but avoid clicking links in emails or texts because they might lead you to an incorrect website. We can never know for sure. So if an email says, it's from your, let's say it's from your bank, and it has a link to connect to your bank account, you're not going to want to click that link. You're going to want to go to your bank's website directly and do whatever in the email it says afterward, whatever steps they're saying that you have to take or whatever you need to check. And then contact the entity yourself with a known legitimate number. Again, be careful about the Googling of numbers, but reverse Googling that number should help. Reporting is very similar, FTC, Elder Watch, IC3.gov, that is the Internet Crime Complaint Center through the FBI. So any crime, any sort of internet scam gets reported to them. And it is different than the FTC's reports, but these are the two databases where law enforcement find information for their cases. And that's how they start investigations, which is why we recommend reporting to so many different places. And then spam at uce.gov, and that is where you can send spam mail. Prizes, sweepstakes, and lottery scams. We see these all the time. You probably have gotten a phone call from Publishers Clearinghouse at least once saying you've won $1 million and a Mercedes, as long as you pay the taxes on it first. And key rule here is never send money to receive money, because unfortunately, you also cannot win a lottery you did not buy a ticket for or contest you didn't enter. Foreign lotteries are illegal. So if you're getting solicited for a foreign lottery or saying that you've won a foreign lottery, those are unfortunately illegal. And so avoid those solicitations at all costs. These scams can be very, very intense. A lot of times they start with the scammer, with that phone call. Oh, you've won X amount of money. And at first it starts with, oh, you need to pay $30 to get your prize winnings, or $100 to get your prize winnings. And then those increments increase as the scammers get more intense. And they'll say, oh, the money's coming, it's been held up. You have to pay more money because it's been held up. And there can be really high losses because of these scams. Do not engage. That is the main rule of refusing these. Just do not engage at all. Throw away, delete the mail, delete email, and digital offers. It's all a scam. I wish I won $1 million, And then mail fraud can be reported to the USPS Inspector General. They have a website and also a phone number. I think it's listed at the end. IC3.gov, again, Internet Crime Complaint Center, if you're getting those through online. And then the Federal Trade Commission again. And the Federal Trade Commission collects information on all of these scams. And they have various categories where they also are collecting information about various other scams too. Okay, non-stranger exploitation. This comes up every single year, and unfortunately, we do see quite a few cases of this. And it's when a family, a friend, caregiver, neighbor, or another known person is taking money or assets from an older adult. Unfortunately, a lot of times this scam is perpetrated by family. A lot of times the person being exploited may not be able to take care of themselves, And so the person that they're relying on for care is exploiting them for their money and assets. And so it can be very hard to recognize. And a lot of times the person who is the victim is not necessarily in a place to report. So if there is suspicion of any sort of non-stranger exploitation, contact Adult Protective Services and contact the local police. That is the best route to go. They have to, look into it after that report is made. The best way to avoid this is to make sure that financial plans are in place and then trusted individuals are helping with finances if that's necessary. I've seen a few cases where folks have put their assets in the hands of someone who has been untrustworthy, and it can be very, very, very damaging, not only in terms of money, but also in terms of identity. Be careful what documents you're signing to with this. If someone's pressuring you to sign a document and you don't fully understand it, pause and take a minute and make sure that you can understand that document before you're signing anything. Home improvement and repair scams. These are difficult because a lot of times there's very little that can be done outside of reporting and perhaps going through small claims court or some other legal system method. These oftentimes are perpetrated by scammers that show up at your door, fly-by-night contractors or workers. They may claim that they have a license, but they may not actually have a license. And so double checking with online, Better Business Bureau, people getting multiple bids for a project, all going to be really important when any sort of home improvement or repair project is going to take place. One of my favorite ways to get any sort of recommendation is through friends and family. I trust their opinions a lot, and a lot of times they do not lead me astray. But I also do back that up with checking online to see if this is, a legitimate business or person. And a lot of times just searching the name of the company or of the person, nothing will come up. But if you search name or company, and then scams or fraud or complaints, and things come up, then there might be an issue. Don't do business at your door. We recommend developing a refusal script for those instances. So a refusal script is when someone calls you on the phone or someone comes to your door and you have one line you say, because I know a lot of people are super trustworthy and you want to be really kind and not slam the door in someone's face, and it can be really difficult to say no. So that's why we recommend these refusal scripts. And it can be one line that is just, sorry, I don't do business at my door. That's it. Or, sorry, I don't do business over the phone. Can you send me a copy of that in the mail or email? And if they don't go away after you say that, then there might also be an issue. Also, understand a contract fully. I know I said this last slide, and don't sign anything you don't understand. This happens a lot with these home improvement contractors that are bad actors. They'll sneak things into contracts, and once the contract is signed, it can be really hard legally to get out of it. Report it to the Attorney General's office, the Better Business Bureau, other appropriate licensing agencies. So depending on what kind of repair, there should be a licensing agency that you can report to. And then also be sure to understand what your legal rights are. Tech support scams have been increasingly intense. And it starts a lot of times with these unsolicited calls or pop-up windows informing you of a computer virus, or saying that you've been charged for computer protection. And a lot of times the computer virus ones will say, they'll give you a phone number to call. And once you call that number, you get connected with a scammer. A lot of times they will download a software, either called AnyDesk or TeamViewer. And these are softwares that are used for legitimate tech support, but it gives full access to your computer. And so they'll use those softwares to get into your bank account, to see what personal documents you have on your computer, take personal information by just being in your computer. And the problem with these, unfortunately, is that it's absolutely a scam. But when money is lost, the banks, and a lot of times it's the scammers get into the person's bank account and they transfer large amounts of money. They make it look like they're transferring $300 for whatever services they've done, but they actually are transferring large amounts of money out of a different account to their account. It's a little convoluted, so if you have questions, please jump in. But that is seen as the person, the victim, allowing that person into their computer makes it so that a bank doesn't take responsibility necessarily for that money being lost. So it's not like, someone charges your debit card $1,000 and you don't know why, and they've gotten your information. The bank will refund you that money. In this case, that doesn't happen, and it can lead to extreme losses. Microsoft, Amazon, Norton, other major computer companies are not going to call you. So any of those calls, they're scams. Hang up or shut down your computer. If those pop-ups come up, just shut down your computer right away. A lot of times you can restart it and everything will be fine. It will be gone. But if you're still having issues, contact a trusted computer support service. So you might have your local computer repair guy, you might go to the Apple store, you might go to the Geek Squad, any of those work. And then avoid future attempts at contact. If these scammers are being pesky, avoid it as much as you possibly can. Don't pick up the phone if you don't know who's calling. If it's important, they will leave a voicemail. And then again, we're reporting to the Federal Trade Commission, Elder Watch, and IC3. Fraudulent sales. We have seen a crazy amount of pet scams. A lot of times for dogs. We've also gotten one for horses and one for, I kid you not, a monkey. And these scams are actually really sad because scammers will set up a legitimate website for whatever pet they're selling and have them listed and have usually a price that's far below whatever the market rate is. And they'll have these adorable puppies on their website. Contact the scammer and they say, yep, we'll ship you the puppy, we'll ship you the monkey, we'll ship you the horse. Don't worry, you just need to pay a deposit, insurance, and shipping. And then there'll be something, shipment held up continuously and more money needing to be sent for either the pet or actually legitimate product to go through. And a lot of times the communication has poor spelling and grammar. A lot of times these people are operating overseas. And so that's a really good sign to tell whether or not something's legitimate. If the asking item is far below whatever the normal price is, it's probably a scam. too good to be true. It probably is. And fraudulent sales, unfortunately, aren't just puppies and monkeys. It happens a lot of times with cars and houses. The house ones can be really intense, and we're not even going to get into real estate scams today. That'll have to be a whole nother series. But the Facebook Marketplace, a lot of times, and Craigslist and eBay are where these scams originate. And $1,000 brand new truck is probably not going to be legitimate, unfortunately. The best way to refuse these is verify, verify, verify. Make sure that those Carfax are coming out clean. Make sure that, the guitar that you really, really want or motorcycle you really, really want is in fact a legitimate product that you can buy. Make sure that that puppy is real. Shop locally if you can. If you can do sales face to face, and hopefully with COVID settling down, we can do more sales face to face. Shopping locally and supporting our neighbors is a great thing to do to avoid scams. And then, unfortunately, if you do get or victim of one of these scams, cut off all contact with the seller. Likely they'll try to convince you that there's just another issue with shipping and you need to send more money. They will also use sales tactics, intense sales tactics, to get you to try to buy whatever product they're selling. And so if, again, they're pressuring you to act now, this will go away, this is a limited offer, it's only today, you have to act today. That's a red flag, big red flag. Reporting to FTC, ElderWatch, IC3.gov, and then also the Better Business Bureau. And Better Business Bureau wants these reports because a lot of people use it to verify buyers and sellers. It's, as much as it is a organization, it's also independent people posting their personal experiences. So be sure to check on there. You can also use Google reviews and review sites like Yelp and stuff to also verify legitimate businesses. We actually have an entire YouTube video on how to use consumer review sites. So if you're interested in that, you can go to our YouTube page and watch that one. Identity theft, and we have seen so much identity theft this year, unfortunately. This is fraudulent charges on your credit card, unauthorized accounts opened in your name, unauthorized use of any personal information, an unemployment insurance notification, and I will talk about that. That's where we've seen most of the identity theft this year, is through these unemployment insurance claims. And it appears to be that there is some sort of organized crime ring that has accessed hundreds of thousands of social security numbers of state employees, local employees, federal employees, private employees, and are using those social security numbers in a very sophisticated scheme to apply for unemployment benefits. And so if someone has used your information to apply for unemployment benefits, sometimes you'll get the benefit debit card sent directly to you. Usually these come as a US Bank Relia card, and it's just a prepaid debit card, and it'll have a sheet of paper and it'll say, these are your unemployment benefits. But then usually a letter from the Department of Labor will show up saying that someone's applied for unemployment. You've applied for unemployment and been awarded those benefits. And when that happens, if that happens, call unemployment, because they are the people that are taking care of all of those scams. Also, that card can be disabled, so that is important as well. And these obviously can cost lots of time, money, and destroy your credit or ruin your good name. So one of the most important things that we have been recommending for folks to make sure that their identity is safe is an annual credit report. And annual credit reports are available for free weekly until April 2022. So you can get a weekly free credit report for the pretty much the rest of the year if you'd like. We don't recommend necessarily that you check them weekly. Not a lot changes weekly, but once a month is a good time to check, especially when they are free. If things are showing up on that report that you don't recognize, accounts that you haven't opened, loans that you haven't taken out, disputing those right away is going to be key in making sure that it doesn't ruin your credit. Keep your personal and financial information as private as you possibly can, and monitor your accounts fairly regularly. Make sure that you're checking that, money isn't just randomly disappearing out of your checking account. Stranger danger is real. If someone's approaching you asking for information, and by approaching you, I mean over the phone, on the internet, in person, anywhere, any way, right? I think sometimes we kind of let our guards down to strangers on the internet because we're all just little picture boxes, but stranger danger, unfortunately, is real on the internet too. So keep your guard up, stay vigilant, and keep your personal information as private as you possibly can. If identity theft does take place, you're going to want to report it to FTC. Report it to us. We can help you with next steps in identity theft recovery. Identitytheft.gov is also an important place to report it because they will have you go through a series of steps to make a report that can be used for law enforcement, making a paper trail showing you have been a victim of identity theft. And then the Colorado Bureau of Investigation as well. Okay, insurance and Medicare scams. These appear as offers from someone other than your doctor for durable medical equipment. So that's a back brace, a knee brace, any sort of, crutches, walkers, stuff like that. They also show up as just charges on your Medicare statement for tests or procedures that you may not recognize or may have not had. They also show up, especially last year, there was a time in which, maybe it was 2 years ago now, people were going door to door to sell genetic tests and saying that Medicare was paying for them. And so people were taking these genetic tests, but Medicare wasn't authorizing them. And it cost those patients lots of money in the end. And so if someone's, showing up at your door saying, oh, you need this genetic test, or, oh, this genetic test is free, that is a big red flag. I know there's websites and stuff you can use to get genetic testing done, but no one's going to show up at your door who's legitimate to do anything like that without you soliciting it. Don't accept any offers for durable medical equipment that aren't prescribed by your doctor. And then make sure you're closely reconciling all medical bills and statements. Also, if someone calls you and says you need a new Medicare card, or they're sending out new Medicare cards that are laminated or plastic or something like that, and they need your Medicare number for that purpose, it's also a scam. Medicare is very clear about when they're sending out new Medicare cards. And I think it's been little bit since they did it last time, but they're not doing it anytime soon, from what I understand. Make sure you report it to the Medicare Inspector General, Colorado Senior Medicare Patrol, the Colorado Insurance Commission, and then report it to us as well. Please feel free to throw questions into the chat or just pop in with questions. I can talk a little bit about these other popular scams that we've been seeing. Romance scams are always popular, especially with COVID, people being more isolated. We've seen a lot of these. They can start anywhere from Facebook, from a dating website, to words with friends. So be careful who you're talking with online. If you do strike up a conversation and a relationship with someone, if they start asking you for money and you've never met them, please wait till you meet them to send them money. If they won't show their face on video chat while you're talking, that might be a red flag that it's a scam too. Romance scams can be emotionally and financially devastating. So just keep your guard up, stay vigilant, make sure that do reverse searches of any sort of pictures you're sent to make sure it's a legitimate person. And I know it can sound harsh, especially when you're trying to, start a relationship, but keeping yourself safe is the most important thing. Say yes scams, I'm happy to report, aren't a scam. If someone calls you and you answer yes to a question, you are okay. Scammers can't do anything with that. So you can say yes to whatever you would like, and scammers cannot use a recording of your voice or anything like that to consent to anything. So good news for everyone who is worried about that scam. And then charitable giving scams happen in lots of different ways. The most important thing is to don't do business at the door, don't do business at the phone. If someone really wants your donation, they should be able to send you something in the mail or via email where you can donate. But double check the charity. That is a website you can use to double check that the charity is legitimate. Charity Navigator is also great. They have ratings as to how legitimate a charity is, and also as to what they're doing with that money that's given. The police and firefighter benevolent bereavement associations, sometimes they'll call asking for money. They are legitimate, but do your research. Sometimes people pose as illegitimate police officers or firefighters calling asking for money for charities. So don't do business over the phone, get something mailed to you, and double check that the organization is legit. And if you have questions, if you're ever wondering whether or not a business or an organization or a phone call or email or text or whatever is legit or not, you can give us a call and we are happy to confirm whether or not it is. So when in doubt, just ask. That is what we're here for. I will leave you with some resources before we go into questions. The Attorney General can be reached at stopfraudcolorado.gov. Check your annual credit report at annualcreditreport.com. Again, our phone number is 1-800-222-4444, number 2. Federal Trade Commission is ftc.gov. Identity theft, this is where you can make a report of identity theft, is identitytheft.gov. And then the Internet Crime Complaint Center through the FBI is ic3.gov. I can leave this up for a second and then I will stop screen sharing. And if you all have questions, feel free.
You mentioned that weekly credit report. Is that the annual credit report where you can check that, or is that something else?
Yes, it is the annual credit report. Yep. If no one has any other questions, you can give us a call if anything else does pop into your head. I really appreciate you joining us today, and I'll be on for a few more minutes just in case anyone does have anything they'd like to chat about. Thank you.
I just hired somebody to do my heating and AC, and now I'm like second guessing them. I'm pretty sure they're legit, but it makes you want to be cautious about everything.
Yes. This job has made me, I'm vigilant about everything, you know. It's scary what people can do with just, you know, a click of a mouse or typing. Yeah, the scammers every single day. I'm like, how did you do that? What? They come up with a new tactic that's like just mind-boggling.
Right, like as soon as people catch on to it, then they have to take it to the next step and make it even trickier. And, yeah.
Exactly. Thank you, Henry. Feel free to join us next week and the week after. Same time, same place.
Yep, you can sign up for that at denverlibrary.org. We'll be here at noon next Thursday and the Thursday after that for the second part and third part of this series. And then this video should be available on AARP's Elder Watch. I think that